in the books, baby.
All
It's
is
back.
back in our lives.
Better than
It's so complete.
Life feels worth it again.
Oh man, listen. I don't even know how to feel after all these amazing games that happened over the weekend.
So many amazing games.
Sometimes football comes back and it's like you see that all these teams working out the kinks, and it's just like, it's just like rusty football. No,
But no, not this weekend.
This
was like
weekend we came back into
football.
prime football.
It's so good when
except for a
teams hit
couple
the road.
teams. Except for a couple teams.
Except for a couple teams.
You're
but we
right.
ain't worried about
You're
that.
right.
Listen,
You're right.
Most of for the lion's share of the games were very entertaining.
Right.
Very good.
I've not to mention the game last night, the Ravens and the Raiders. Oh my goodness!
A
I
barn
got
burner.
all I got all that I legally streamed for my money's worth.
Listen. I know Brian Edwards owners were cringing at one point and then celebrating the next. So we
Oh,
get so
boy.
much to talk about.
So
Yeah.
much.
We'll
So
talk
much
about
to
him
go
later
over.
on.
We're not gonna waste any time, guys. We just gonna get right into
Let's
it.
jump right into it.
Let's jump into it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest games that happened over I mean, we already kind of
We talked
talked
about
about it was the
Tampa and
Tampa
Dallas.
Bay.
Yeah, but hey,
Tampa and Dallas.
that was a beautiful game. That was poetic. Oh,
Mhm.
It was a beautiful game unless you were the Ezekiel Elliott owner.
except that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
I
definitely.
was, and this is one of the first years I've owned him, and I can't say it's been a pleasurable experience thus far.
That's how I felt last year.
Listen, I don't think it's time to panic on
No,
them.
no,
I
not
think that
yet.
was the game plan. I think the way it played out is exactly how they wanted it.
Right.
And the Buccaneers have the best running defense in the league.
They do.
Just everyone
And
just take a chill
Martin was
pill.
out. Martin was out. So I think, as you said, it was the game plan for Zeke to
Mhm.
stay back and protect Dak. Because remember, Dak is coming off an ankle and shoulder injury, and so hey, maybe Zeke's role was, hey, let's protect him this game. You can get your fantasy points next week. I hope. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed.
I would
mean,
I
think
would
that's
say
what
give
will
him
happen.
I would say give him 2 more weeks before you start to panic.
Boy, I don't even know if I have that much patience. I may try to I may try to sell him. This is a scary ride for me. Like I said, I've never owned him before, and it's not good.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think the other game that we really do need to talk about, just because of what happened before the game, was just the 49ers Lions. And not necessarily that game,
Oh,
but just what happened with the players on the 49ers team, just
Yeah.
because there was a lot of like Trey Sermon inactive.
guys, I know we're gonna get to it later with our waivers, right? But this is painful owning anybody from the 49ers, besides
Yeah.
them being injured a lot. This is the first
Besides
game. This is the first
Debo.
game of the season, and everyone's supposed to be fine. Why are there healthy scratches no one knows about? Why is Trey
Yeah,
Sermon? Why is Trey Sermon, who was listed as the backup, not on the field?
inactive. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there was definitely a big the beat writers for the 49ers. I don't know what was going on. I mean, we heard nothing. All of a
No.
sudden
It
after
was
the
radio
game, we hear
silence.
Shanahan say, well, Elijah Moore was the best running back in camp.
Like
It's like
Like
El- Elijah, where from the
sorry, not
Bible?
not
when were you
Like
gonna tell us that?
what Elijah we talking about? So let's skipping
Elijah
ahead.
Mitchell, I said Maury.
yeah, you said more.
Elijah
I was
Mitchell.
just gonna correct you.
Yeah,
Elijah
but
Mitchell.
hey,
Yeah.
but that's my point.
It's
We don't
just
know who he is.
yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
so definitely in the waivers, we're gonna let y'all know what we think about the situation. But yeah, I mean, Mostert. Listen, I was out on Mostert from before the season. I continue to be.
You can
He's
toot your
29
you
year
can toot your
old.
horn on
He's
that one
injured
for you.
again.
You
His to me, his career is over. I don't.
quite possibly
Yeah.
I'm not. To
because
me, like I just don't see it. I don't
he's
see
out at
it.
least 8 weeks, I
Yeah,
think.
Yeah.
At least eight
yeah.
weeks. And there's a
That's way too
stable of
much.
running backs there, and Shanahan does not care who it is running the ball.
Yeah. They just
So
want someone who could move the ball. No matter what name on the back of the jersey.
so is he a drop candidate or what?
With him being
I,
out so
I
long, I would
I would
definitely
say
drop him.
depending on your team makeup. If you got to, you got to. You know,
And
if you
redraft
gotta
and
drop him, you
redraft,
gotta
I'm
drop
leaning
him.
towards a drop. Dynasty,
Yeah.
you keep him, hold on to
Yeah,
him.
Dynasty,
Yeah.
you're not dropping him quite yet, but a
Because as I
redraft, yeah,
spoke about before, and we'll speak about again, if you own a 49ers running back, you have to own maybe two or three,
Yeah.
yeah,
right? And so
agreed.
possibly he'll be good in a package if you want to trade. Hey, I'll give you Mostert, more Sermon, everything, so you can get one quality piece back. Seriously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, once again, that there was just so much going on this weekend. I mean, the Chiefs Browns was
That was
a
another
powerhouse
barn burner.
game.
Another good game.
It's crazy. The Chiefs just, I don't know,
How do
It's
they do it?
projecting these players from week Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey. They are they break every projection because we're used in fantasy football to even the best players. They have
Yep.
the good games, they have the bad games, they have the good
Yep.
seasons, they have the bad seasons.
Yep.
They
But
just it looks like nothing changed.
in that game, Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek had it all in one. They had a terrible first half, and
Yeah.
I was going against a Patrick Mahomes person. I was like, wow, this is my week. I'm gonna do it. So wrong.
But see,
No.
So
this
wrong.
this is what makes Patrick Mahomes so scary to go against because you may be watching that game and be like, oh yeah, he doing bad. All right, looking good. And then
Yeah.
they just need 2, 3 plays, and it's like, wow,
Listen,
really?
it's
What
like
I'm
it's
hoping
damned if
for.
you do and damn if you don't, honestly,
Yeah.
because if they're up already and they're killing them, then Patrick Mahomes already had a great day. If
Yeah,
they're down, you at the end of the game, Mahomes has shown
And
his
that's what I was gonna
proficiency
say.
at coming back.
The most you can hope for with Patrick Mahomes is that they're up and he doesn't need to go crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
And he can possibly just have a good day, not a great day against you.
yeah.
yeah. If we're gonna go over one more, I'd say it's probably we should talk about the down game of the Packers and the
Oh,
Saints.
Oh,
where'd that come from?
that was a hard game to watch. That was nasty.
It was and especially now it was beautiful by the fourth quarter. Um, Aaron Rodgers was sitting down and Aaron Jones was sitting down, and I went against both of them. That is one of the worst. That's the worst things that could ever happen in fantasy happening to anybody who
Listen,
owned
Yeah,
them. So I
that
apologize on their behalf.
that performance by Rogers felt like Peyton Manning in his last season. It was
Oh,
just, it
oh
was hard to
gosh,
and
watch.
listen, we've seen this already from Rodgers. The season of 2 seasons ago, we
you're
saw
right.
where we thought it was the decline. We thought it was
Yeah,
beginning to end. At this time, if you're a Packers owner, just once again, you need to just go, rest, sit down, get yourself a mai tai, sit on the beach, and just relax.
yeah,
There you go. Like Rodgers say, RELAX. It's not the end. I think I think they just got an off start and they just couldn't get themselves going again. That Saints defense is legit. So relax. I think everything's gonna pan out and everyone's gonna be fine in that offense, but definitely not what you want to see in the first week.
all right. So keeping in trend with what was good and what was bad, let's talk about our heroes and zeros from this week.
Mm.
Whew.
I think I think I'll start with one hero that I'm sure nobody saw coming. AB lighted up.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I'm sure nobody expected that out of AB. And if you have AB, if you drafted him, that was definitely a steal.
Yeah, definitely. Like, where'd he come from?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, listen, I was telling you guys, a friend of mine, a few weeks ago, we had him on the show when we were doing a mock draft. Michael Fox. We went down to one of the training camp. We went to Buccaneers training camp, just randomly on a date. And the one thing we both left there saying was, AB could be a problem. Like we both like we at the coming out of the training camp, he was getting targets. I mean, he was all over the field, and
Yeah.
from then we're looking at it and saying, "Wow,
The thing is with AB is that
we might all be drafting AB too low."
you know he can be a problem, but you don't
Mhm.
know if the coach is gonna put him in to make him a problem. And now it seems like this year, Bruce Arians is like, this guy, he needs to be on the field, even if he's just an illusion, even if he's just taking the coverage off of other players and onto him. He's crazy. So I mean, hey, if you got AB, if you stuck around for that journey, it's gonna pay off for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
When
was
I know the one guy I want to talk about that I don't want it to be lost in the mixture of all the players that really went off is Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
I think because he's so good, but also because we've had so much concern, sometimes he can get lost in the mix. But he had an amazing game. I mean, Joe Mixon was
yeah, he did.
on the field. I mean, he was, definitely the number one running back. Not having Gio Bernard did definitely made a difference. He was their main guy. He was catching the ball. He was on for most of the snaps. He was everything we've wanted him to be for 2 years.
Yeah, I'm
29
still not
carries,
going to jump to Joe
127
Mixon.
yards, one touchdown, caught every reception that he had. I mean, he was just amazing. And if this is something of things to come, then Joe Mixon could be one of our top three running backs next season. But it's a little early, so we'll see if this continues. But I mean, Joe Mixon definitely a hero of the week.
Hey,
Yep.
I gotta stick it up for my boy. Well, two people, Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. They had a great opening game. So I'm pumping the brakes a little bit. A great opening game. They look good. One thing Jalen Hurts showed is that what they said in the beat in the for the beat writers in the camps was this guy has accuracy. He has improved and he's getting the ball to his players. And so I'm just watching that. I'm a Jalen Hurts lover, but hey,
Really,
this
we didn't
guy,
know that.
Mm,
everybody knows
surprising.
that. But check this. If this guy can just manage a game with that 60-yard rushing floor, he's going to be a gem for you. I'm just going to leave it there. He's going to be a gem.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts is still a watch for me.
I'm
I
still
mean,
watching.
because he played Atlanta. Atlanta's defense is
Keep
it's
I
watching.
not a
think he
real
did what he was supposed to
defense.
do.
Yeah,
I think it was a good game, not a great game for him.
agreed.
But I see what you're saying, Sheldon. At the end of the day, I think what you've always been trying to say, and I think it's been lost in your hysteria, is that Jalen Hurts will provide a solid floor for you most games.
He
I
will.
think that at the end of the day, that is I would be more excited for that than for
Yeah,
having some sort of breakout player who's gonna like be a Josh Allen or a Mahomes that'll give you these amazing bomb games. I think he'll do it from time to
And
time,
I
but I
can
think
take
he'll be
that.
known more for his floor than
I
for
can
the
take
ceiling.
that.
yeah, I I agree with that.
All right. So, hey, we talked about the sweet. Let's talk about the sour. Who stunk it up for you?
Oh, all
Well, I
three
want to talk
of
about someone that oh, were you going?
I was going to
Go
say
ahead.
all
Go ahead.
three of the highest drafted running backs in most
Yes.
leagues, Saquon, Zeke, and Henry. All three of
Yes.
them stunk it up.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Well,
I'd say for me, I'd probably be most concerned about Saquon personally. We
yes.
knew this was coming.
Yes.
Um, but at the same time, I'm just like I don't know. I know he's gonna get up to speed. I know he's gonna at some point kind of get it going. But what I don't know what that ceiling is going to be for when he does. Just because Daniel Jones is just so terrible.
Yeah.
He's
He
guys.
has a
He's a
lot of
terrible
things. He has a
quarterback.
lot of things going
Terrible,
against
terrible
him.
quarterback.
Besides the
Uh,
injury, he has bad quarterback play.
Terrible,
We don't
terrible
know if the
quarterback play.
offensive line has improved, but if it's the same as last year, that's still going to be a problem.
yeah,
I don't know if Saquon can get back to the glory days that he used to have. I'm really doubting it.
it's so much to get over, and he's a great, amazing running back. Probably talent wise, the best in the
Yeah,
league.
I
But
don't, I don't think he's lost anything talent wise.
no, I
I
don't
think
think so
the
either.
team situation is just going to be a lot to overcome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I'm actually concerned about Zeke. This is looking a lot like last year, and I know everyone's saying it was game plan, cool, but it still feels early like last year how he was playing not like himself.
Yeah,
So I
it
mean,
doesn't feel good.
it's a wait and see, but
Yeah.
to start the season like this isn't a good look.
The beauty
Definitely.
is that in his draft price, he went very late in the first round this year. I actually owned him for the first time this year. I got him maybe with the ninth pick or the 10th pick. So it sucks that he's not blowing up the league. But if you get him in the as a 10, like you can bear with it because you probably got another good receiver or running back on the turn. So
Yeah. I mean, listen.
it's something you can wait on.
I think the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers offense. Were not sorry. The Buccaneers defense has. They have the best running back defense in the league. Last season they proved it. This season I think the game plan was their first game was avoid, 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 avoid. They didn't get into a whole lot of goal line situations as well, where they could I mean he just didn't have a chance to supplement and make a little bit of extra points. I'm not worried about Zeke yet. Like we said earlier, give it about 3 weeks. Let's see what's gonna happen. And Derrick Henry, no worry at all. This happens from time to time.
No
Yeah,
It's
worries. Yeah.
it's just roll with the punches. He's gonna be fine.
Hey, this ain't fantasy relevant, but Chris Jones, he's a monster. He's a beast. 5 sacks against one of
Chandler
the
Jones.
Chandler Jones.
sorry, Chandler Jones against
Mm-hmm.
one of the
Yeah.
best rated
No.
O lines from last season.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Lewan had to sing his praises. My
Mm-hmm.
gosh,
Yeah,
Listen, man.
from the first snap in the chat, I was like, "Yo, these guys look like they're eating babies today." and they
Yeah,
just continued.
I mean
Two
to
fumbles
me,
from Ryan Tannehill. Like this guy had basically an all-star season in one game.
yeah, to me it feels like the Titans kind of trying to get their offense together for some reason, and it may be a pump the brakes on some of those players, but
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see.
except for Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry is a lock and start, but
Right.
it
We'll have to see. I think they're gonna get it
yeah,
together. I think they're figuring it out. I think the
I think so
Julio
too.
Tannehill connection is not there. We have to
Yeah,
remember that Matt Ryan and Julio,
it's
uh,
definitely not
you
there.
know, Matt Ryan is the only quarterback Julio knows.
Yeah,
Hey,
You
and
know,
I have to sing the praises. I always know he's a good quarterback, but this guy is great. Kyler Murray, like he
phenomenal this
oh
season.
man, I mean,
there was a
just
play where he broke the pocket, broke off running, stopped at the line of scrimmage,
I
and
think I get
then
what you
threw
mean.
maybe like a 50-yard bomb, accurate
Yep.
with like two
Yeah,
guys surrounding him. Like, oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah,
Kyler Murray looked like he's definitely taking another step this season. He
yeah,
looks phenomenal, and
absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
him and D Hop are gonna be monsters this season.
And
Defensive
besides
linemen,
that,
just beware,
yeah, and
because you're gonna
besides
look
that,
silly.
going into the season, I didn't think any of the other Cardinals receivers were fantasy relevant, but they proved me wrong. They proved me wrong. So Moore is looking good. Okay, I don't want to skip ahead, but I have to mention even AJ Green looked like he may have a little drip of fume left in the
Little
tank.
little drip.
A little drip,
I'm not sure I agree
enough to
there.
get
I
you in the
think I'm
fish
a little bit
fry.
more excited for the younger guys on the team. But listen, with Kyler Murray throwing the ball the way he has, there's gonna be some room for someone else to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely want an offense to watch there. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I
Any
think
more stinkers? Any more zeros to talk
Who
about?
stunk it up?
yeah, zeros. I don't know.
Well,
You
something we're
know,
gonna talk about is
everyone
Washington a
from the
little
Packers
later.
pretty much.
We can talk about
But
Washington later on. I had high hopes for Fitzmagic this year.
hmm
He
Yeah.
unfortunately went down with an injury. But a backup, somebody who can maybe resurrect your team if you had Fitzmagic is Taylor Heineke.
Yeah,
So
He's performing.
he's
He's serviceable.
performing
He has been serviceable in the past. I
right.
think
Yeah,
he's actually a solid quarterback.
I think so too.
I think he can get the ball to his receivers, and I
Right.
think that's the main thing. I think
So
it's possible. So
it's a downgrade for Terry McLaurin and Curtis
absolutely, it's a
Samuel.
downgrade for
Oh yeah,
everyone in that offense.
yeah,
But at the
But
same time, he's still a little bit of a hero if you can still get him off the waiver wire. I know I'm skipping ahead, but that's one of my waiver picks. Heineke, if you had Fitzmagic, because I'm sure you only had him as a backup quarterback or the stream, I think Heineke's going to fit in.
yeah,
well, I mean, guys, I say let's get into it, man.
Let's get into it.
Let's
yeah.
just get into the waivers. I want to give this disclaimer before we get into the waivers. This is so after doing a little bit of research myself and looking in. Let's all and I'm talking to myself because
Let's hear it.
I particularly am a week one waiver wire fiend. I'm not good with my money. I'm terrible. I need an accountant. I need someone because yes, listen, I'm yeah, generally speaking, I see guys and I get excited and I'm like spend, but I just want before with all these guys, just keep in mind it is week one. There's a lot that still needs to be fleshed out. Even if situations look like they're going to be something, you need to make sure that you expend your waiver wire allotment responsibly, right? Here's a few of the waiver wire guys from last season and where they actually ended on the season. Week one waiver wire guy. Remember Naeem Hines? Remember that game that he
Yeah.
had? And we were like, oh, wait a minute.
But he didn't have a bad
Oh
game
yeah.
They're
yesterday.
gonna split huh?
He's a waiver wire
No, no,
guy
no, no,
this year
no.
as well.
Mind you, I'm just talking about the amount that you're gonna put in based
Right.
on where they actually end up. He
Okay.
was RB 47 last season. That's where he ended.
Yeah.
All right. So if you spent 80-50% of your fab,
Whew,
yeah,
whew.
It's a
it
bit
doesn't add
rich.
up. It doesn't compute. Even if he
Oh,
does have some good games,
I know why.
it doesn't add up.
Because you did that last year.
Exactly, I did do that. Exactly. Malcolm Brown was another waiver
Oh,
wire hero of week one waiver
Oh
wire guy
yeah.
last season. We thought he might be the guy there.
yeah.
We expended, listen, just be sparing with the cash that you have.
Temper
No, temper your
expectations.
expectations. This is week one.
But
It's
guys, I want you to take his advice with a grain of salt and also take my advice with a grain of salt. If you have a guy that you believe in, go out and spend for him.
but
Go
what are
out
you
and spend.
saying? Spend what?
You
Don't
saying
blow.
spend all your money?
No, don't do that. But go out and you put a conservative amount on it.
I
I don't want to give away numerical amounts, but let's say you have $100 in Fab. If you really believe in somebody, around 25 to 30 to 35, according to how bad you want
I
it, or how
mean
bad you need
that's
it.
not bad. I think it also really depends on your team.
Exactly.
It depends on your team. I think that's a big point.
So
Like
let
if
me
you
What
focus.
you need, like knowing what your deficiencies were out of your draft,
yeah,
and if there's a guy that is from a particular position, you
So
look at what you need.
I believed in Raheem Mostert this season, and I believed in the 49ers backfield, right? I got Mostert at values. I didn't spend too much for him, but a lot of those times I got Trey Sermon. Now, Mostert's hurt. Trey Sermon, you don't know where his place is on the field. I have to go out now and I have to go and get Elijah Mitchell. It hurts that I'm in this quandary, but I need to get him. And so I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I may spend a little coin on him, maybe 25 to 30 to 35.
comment on him because he's clearly the lead back in that offense right now, and everyone looking for a running back is going to be looking at him. So
Yep.
you
Yeah,
may
listen,
have to
he's
spend.
the top pickup. I think everywhere you see, you're gonna see that he's gonna be the top RB pickup
Yeah,
of the week.
you. I think
And
you're gonna have to
What
spend
you're
more
gonna
than
have to
thirty
spend to
five
get
dollars
him,
to
I
get him.
don't know.
y'all,
I
y'all
don't
hurting
know.
my
It
heart,
depends on
man.
your
Y'all hurting
league.
my heart. I gotta spend how much for him?
I
It
think
de-
you have to spend more than $35 for him.
Oh
yeah, yeah. I
no.
mean,
Sorry,
I'll be
sorry,
yeah.
bro.
I think depending on what the league is, and then also depending on dynasty and redraft.
Oh gosh.
These guys tend to tend to be a little bit more to find a useful guy in dynasty is not very often. So if you
Yeah,
can get that guy that's gonna be somewhat difference maker for your team, some guys are willing to put in a little bit more on that. So I personally I was up until late yesterday. I was completely on the Elijah Mitchell train, ready to spend it all. But thinking about what I said earlier this just now about how these RBs actually ended up, and also thinking about that 49ers offense
It's a risky
tempered my
proposition.
expectations.
It's
it
Listen,
risky.
it
even
is
if
very
Elijah Mitchell
risky.
ends up being the guy, we don't know what's gonna happen next week. Trey Sermon will most likely be playing next week. The
Hopefully.
Lions
Agreed.
defense is not the greatest.
Yeah.
So the fact that he had a good game against them, we have to take that with a grain of salt as well.
All
Jermichael
right.
Hasty's still there.
That's
Um,
true.
there's all sorts of things to consider. So I would not I
And
would
see,
not blow the
because
bag on Elijah. I would spend
and
exactly how much Sherlin was actually saying. If you don't get him, then I think you
exactly. I
I
mean,
think you
this
can be
is
fine. I don't think you need to get him.
I completely agree with you because I don't think you should spend that much on him, but I feel like you're gonna have
I
to
feel
if you
like you
want
have to.
him.
If you
Yeah.
want to make sure you get him, you have
So
to. But I
it's
think it could.
definitely
I
a
think it could
risky.
be. Yeah, I think it could be one of those things where you just end up hoping that thinking that this guy is going to be the guy, and then you end up with no fab, and also a guy
Guys, you're
that
making me
gives you
sad.
Yeah,
Guys,
productivity
can we
on.
move on? Can we move on? You're making me very sad. Like you're not painting a rosy picture for me. But guys, learn from this.
That's all I want to point out. And I,
Yeah.
I, I think Elijah Mitchell was worth talking about this much just because he is the main guy on the
Who's
on
yeah.
the
next?
week. But go ahead.
Someone you alluded to or you mentioned earlier, Rondale Moore.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be available in a lot of dynasty leagues, but in redraft, he's most definitely available in redraft leagues. And with the way the Cardinals are looking, they're looking like a high powered offense this season. He's definitely a player you wanna try and scoop up if you could.
It's not necessarily going to come to fruition immediately. I think he's a guy that we're going to see kind of break out more as the season goes.
Yeah,
But
I think he's gonna have ups and downs. Like
it's
some
better to
games
have
he's
him
gonna
on your
ball out.
bench for when like the time actually comes. You never know if an injury happens to one of those wide receivers or something like that.
Yeah,
But
Yeah. It's good. A good flex player.
it's definitely a guy I think, and you don't have to spend up for Rondale. I don't think this week. I think you can make a pretty conservative offer,
I
yeah.
agree.
and you can pick him up. but he's definitely someone
All
that
right.
you want to think about. The guy that I want to talk about is Tim Patrick.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Tim Patrick, Mr. Normal Name. I mean, listen, just because it's his name, it doesn't feel like am I really gonna draft Tim Patrick? But listen, Tim Patrick was, if you look at his games last season, he was almost the guy for them last season. A great wide receiver. I think he just does everything good. Does everything well. I think he's a good wide receiver. I think he can get open when he needs to. And I think he's, now that Jerry Judy is down for 4 to 6 weeks, he's going to be targets.
Looks in that
Hmm.
offense.
And then Corton Sutton, he looked great. Um, but you don't know how much they want to depend on them coming out the gate, and
Yeah.
so for that reason, I think they want to spread the ball around. So that's a great pickup. I like that pick.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
Well, I want to throw out a gross name,
Go
and
ahead. I
this
feel
name
like I
is
know who you're going to throw.
this name is Cordarrelle Patterson. Like he's been thrown around the league and even in fantasy thrown around. But guys, I watched the Atlanta game and as gross as that offense was, Cordarrelle Patterson was both a running back and a wide receiver. That gives you a low floor. And if somebody wasn't watching, I think you can get Cordarrelle Patterson very cheap.
Hasn't he?
But yesterday he got 54 rushing yards and 13 receiving yards. It doesn't seem as though they want to depend heavily on Mike Davis, even though he's a capable back. I think they want to spread it around. And so in a league, I would love to have Cordarrelle Patterson, especially in deeper leagues. I would get Cordarrelle Patterson on my bench for cheap.
That's fine. I'm not excited. I definitely am not excited to go after him. I think what you're getting from Cordell Patterson, I think is exactly what you said. I think the chances of him giving you any kind of exciting fantasy point total is nil to zero,
But
because he
not to
is what he
labor,
is.
but do you remember? I think it was the Jets he played for last season when there was no one else there. You remember those last weeks of last year when he was winning you leagues?
He was winning you leagues.
Was he?
Yes, let's
I
we'll
don't
vet
remember
that.
that.
We'll
Boy,
vet
he
that. But this
please vet
guy,
that because he probably was doing that in silence because I ain't having nothing about it.
he's so under the radar. But we'll vet it on social media. Let's
Sure.
move on with another name.
Well,
So
the name I thought you were going to mention was Mark Ingram. And I think this is the guy a guy that you really need to be watching out for. Guys, he had 26 attempts at running back last season. Last game last week. Listen, any running back that's gonna get 26 attempts is someone that you should have rostered. He had 85 yards and a
okay,
touchdown.
because I was gonna say if he's getting 20 something touches but only like 40 something yards, they're probably gonna try someone else next week. But
I
with
was
that
going to say the
with that
only
many yards, they'll probably try him again for another week and see if he can replicate it.
And listen, he's the guy there. I mean, Lindsey is there, David Johnson is there, but clearly, I mean, I don't know if this was just game script too, because they were kind of killing the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we have to take this with a grain of salt as well.
Yeah,
with a
They're
grain of
not
salt.
going to be killing everyone. In fact, I think they're going to be in more losing game scripts.
yeah,
And so
that
once
may have
again,
been their only win for the season.
exactly. Once again, you don't need to break the bank here. Not, I don't think you're breaking the bank on anyone this week. Honestly, I think there are
No,
guys you try to get. I think you put out some modest waivers out for just about everyone and see who falls to you. Is the smart thing to do, because I'm not feeling like you need to go. Like Elijah Mitchell is the highest guy definitely, but even there, put out as much as you feel you need to, but just know that there's some chances there as well.
but I have another flyer, which I mean you probably can get this guy for cheap. Anthony Schwartz, the wide receiver for the Browns. Uh, Anthony Anthony Schwartz. He had a pretty decent game. I'm sure you could start him in some flex, but for me, he's more of a pick him up and watch him for a couple weeks to see how he does. And I think with Odell still being out, he's going to get some targets. Um, it remains to be seen what happens when Odell comes back. I think the Browns need to trade Odell, but that's a whole nother conversation. Um, but yeah, he's definitely someone you could pick up and stash and see how he fares in the next couple of weeks.
Definitely. Um, someone I just this is like an off throw. This is just an off the side kind of thing here. You may be able to just stash him for a little bit. I'm talking Carlos Hyde. Um, the
He's still in the
running backs,
league.
Unfortunately, yes.
the running back two for the
Huh.
Jaguars. James Robinson didn't look great, guys.
No,
He
he
didn't look
No,
great.
no, he
he had a
didn't.
terrible game.
He also only got 35 snaps. 35%, sorry, 35% of the snaps. Where last year he did not dip under 75 the whole week, I believe. So, Carlos Hyde is definitely going to be a factor in this offense. If you have James Robinson, I think you need to try to get Carlos Hyde. But also, it doesn't hurt. I mean, I don't think it hurts to kind of have him on the bench as well, just in case. You never know what's gonna happen. This is, like I said, this is one of the off ones. I think I've already spoken about the guys that I'm really going for, but I just want to put him on the radar for now because I really do think that there could be an opportunity for him.
All
I
right.
think they're having some growing pains in Jacksonville. So I mean, the hope is that Robinson can bounce back. And last week was just okay. This is our first game with travel. We're trying to figure things out, type of thing. Um,
I
what's
really
that?
hope Urban Myers gets fired or retires, as we've heard the rumors, because he's getting on my nerves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just had to say that.
I'm not
the
hearing any good things about Urban
the
Meyer.
reports are
So
not good right now.
I'm hoping
Definitely
what's
need to watch
happening
the
with James
situation.
Robinson is just a factor of Urban Meyer, and he disappears soon.
And I
Hmm.
also blame Travis Etienne's injury on him. I don't know the details, but I'm blaming him.
One more guy. I think we just need to put on another radar guy is Zach Pascal. Um,
Eh.
Yeah, he
wide
did have
receiver
a
for the Indianapolis
Or
Colts
should we
caught two
say
touchdowns in this last game.
or should we say
Grain
any
of salt.
wide
Yeah.
receiver
I
from
mean, listen, like I
I mean
said, this
any,
is
but
just a watch. This is
I
a
think
watch
Pascal is one
situation
to
for
watch.
yeah, for
I
Pascal, just
I'm
to
probably
watch. They have a
I'm
lot of
probably
wide
speaking
receivers
about
there.
fatigue because everybody's been talking about watch out for Pascal for years, and I'm pretty much over it now, to be
I mean,
honest.
maybe this is the year he breaks out with a new quarterback. Who knows?
That's
It's
what
a
they
new
say every year.
system. We don't know what's like I said, this is a new system. If it was the same system or again that he had last year or
Yeah, I
the
would have
year
been.
before, I would say the same thing you're saying, Sherlin. But just because it's a new system, it's a new quarterback.
Right.
Carson
Yeah,
Wentz might favor him. You never know.
What I was going
This
to
is a
say,
guy you need to have on
this
the
ain't a
radar
waiver
just in case.
conversation, but how do you feel about Carson Wentz? Is he on his way back to providing any sort of relevance for fantasy or no?
I think
he's still a watch for
I
me.
think
It
we
was
need
an
to
up and
see a
down
little
game
bit
I
more.
saw.
Yeah,
I think we need to see a bit more. I think even I don't know how they like Colts had one of the best offensive lines in the game, and yet still it seemed like they were
yeah.
always in the backfield on him this game. I
I
don't.
was going to
It
say
was
that,
it was very weird.
and it looks as though he's still holding on to the ball way longer than he needs to. I don't understand that.
Well, I mean, after what he went through in Philly, it's clearly he trying to rebuild his confidence and
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get back to
Well,
what he was.
and that may
So
take a
but
few
I must
games.
say there is an improvement, but I don't know if I'm ready to jump on the bandwagon yet.
I'm not either. He's a watch
No,
for, I'd
no,
say, for half
I'd
the
say
season.
keep an
Speaking
eye
of,
on him. See if it ever comes
we
to
spoke about
fruition.
him last week. Mike Strawn, besides my Bahamian pride, this guy needs to be rostered. Because I feel as though, as I spoke about, any wide receiver for the Colts right now has a chance to break out. As I
Yeah,
said
it's
last
it's
week,
wide open.
and Mike Strawn, he has a chance to be like a big time player. Hey, just pick him up. If you can get him for free. Ain't nobody except us 300 and whatever thousand people know about him right
Listen,
now.
man,
But you don't want to wait.
this is our hometown guy. Definitely.
I hope he balls
But
out.
personally, I would say he needs to be watched. I don't think he needs to be
Agree.
rostered quite yet. I don't think
If you're
you
in a
need to
deeper
get him on
league
your team. I don't think you're gonna
or
have
you have
any
space,
competition get it going for him.
Yeah. Because
yeah,
You
I
don't
mean,
need. Go ahead.
this
yeah,
guy can emerge. This guy can
he
really can
could.
emerge.
As if you have the space, you could roster him and hold on to him, see if he pans out.
If you have the space, but it's just what I'm saying
But
in redraft benches, you don't tend to have that much
I
yeah, you
space.
agree.
don't you
I
don't tend to
agree.
have space,
In
and because
Dynasty,
it's
I think
so
if you're talking about Dynasty, then yes, fine. He should be rostered in Dynasty.
yeah,
But
put him in your
redraft
taxi
benches, I
squad
don't
if
think
you
have
have
the
it.
space for to have a guy like Strawn on the bench.
Agreed.
Okay,
And because the race for being the wide receiver one in Indy is so close,
it is.
picking one of them to roster is kind of risky at the moment without
Hmm.
seeing who emerges. And right now, Pascal looks like the leader after week one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely
As
a
a guy,
watch situation.
he's pretty much he's owned but hardly ever played, and it's somebody I gave up on. But the opportunity is there for Devin Singletary of the Bills.
Mm.
He had an
It's
alright
there.
game.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's there.
He had an alright game, and he also was involved in the passing game, something that gave him relevance in his first 2 seasons, and it trailed off. But now it looks as though with Zach Moss a healthy scratch, and I don't think anyone's behind him. I think Devin Singletary can give you a nice little low floor, a nice little insurance policy. If I could get him for the cheap, I will see what happens. I said last week. I said if you see something, to close your eyes and pretend like it didn't happen. I changed that. If you can get him for cheap, I would just put him at the end of your bench.
I agree. I agree. I think that that's a guy that needs to be rusted because of his situation.
Yeah.
Listen, if you could
Agreed.
find a running back that's the only running back in his offense, and
Only
no matter what the offense is, he needs to be rusted.
because I mean,
So
not to dwell too long, but what's going on with Zach Moss? He has been
I don't
logging a lot of
know.
healthy scratches. I really don't know.
I don't know. Like,
There's a lot of red flags, and
yeah,
I would just stay clear if you can.
Okay,
Like,
cool.
I mean, you don't want the headache on your bench wondering if this player is going to be started or not, or you
Right.
just inconsistency is the worst thing for fantasy players.
The best ability is
Is
availability.
availability.
definitely.
You
And
don't
if
want
you're
to be
getting healthy
questioning.
scratched, then
Yeah, that.
that's a huge problem because
Yeah,
you don't want to see that you don't want to see that on Sunday as 1 o'clock hits that your player is a
exactly.
healthy scratch. It's not you don't want that.
All right.
Totally agree.
Which names?
Yeah, guys. So, any last guys we wanna throw out before we end the episode?
This one is
Um,
honorable. This is an honorable mention, and it's more of me tooting my horn again. This guy saw a lot of snaps, but it's for Carolina, so with a grain of salt. Do I have to say that Christian McCaffrey is back? We spoke about him being both a running back and a wide receiver, and he definitely is. But
What I was talking about just like these guys, like I said with Tyreek Hill and Mahomes, like we expect with just about every player for the ups and downs and for okay, sometimes you have an off game. So Christian McCaffrey just gets on the field and is just like, okay, here's 30 points without a touchdown.
the
yep,
number one running back without a touchdown. This guy
Crazy.
is
it's
crazy.
ridiculous.
But somebody or a team I want to put on the map is the Carolina Panthers. We spoke about Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
This
Yeah,
guy has, I think, resurrected some life into all fantasy players. Now, the salt is that now your receivers are not going to be dominant. So your DJ Moores, your Robbie Anderson, they're having less targets, but they still can be fantasy relevant. So, especially Terrace Marshall is one of the names I want to put out there. He's the slot receiver. He saw a great target load, and he was on the field a lot. So Terrace Marshall, I think you can get him for pretty much free in redraft. Pick him up, keep an eye on him, but this offense is ready to go.
yep,
definitely. I mean, the last guy I think I'll throw out as a deeper dive is actually Hayden Hurst. Um, guys, Hayden Hurst
I
was on the field just as much as Kyle Pitts was.
talk about it
Hayden,
because I know you're a Kyle Pitts lover. Talk about it,
I love
Adrian.
it. I love Kyle Pitts, but here's the thing: this isn't gonna affect. I don't expect this to affect Kyle Pitts at all. The thing about it is Kyle Pitts is used all. He's gonna be on the field regardless. If they bring Hayden on, Hayden is gonna be on in as well as Pitts. And I don't think he eats into Pitts at all, just because they don't really have a whole lot of targets in that offense. They have Calvin Ridley, and then who else? Russell Gage got 0 targets last game, 0. Um, So, I just think as a tight end, I think Kyle Pitts, we were looking at Kyle Pitts as the tight end for the Falcons, whereas I think Kyle Pitts is more like a wide receiver there. And so Hayden Hurst is still the tight end. Oh, no, I'm not squirming at all, man. I'm
uh,
completely fine. It's Kyle Pitts' first game. I'm not worried at all.
I think
Just and Matt Ryan was terrible.
Yeah,
He's
he
gonna have
yeah,
was.
better
He
games.
was.
that team is going to be better. So I'm not concerned at all in the least. I still think Pitts is going to be awesome.
I think
But it's just going to be some growing pains, just because the tight end position, that's what it has.
one last player I want to throw out there is famous Jameis himself.
Oh,
He
Yes.
he surprised in week one. Um, Clearly his eyes are not as blurry as they used to be anymore. In sleeper leagues, he's only 48% on, so he's clearly available in leagues. If
go to
you
get
if,
him.
if you were a Fitzpatrick owner and you're looking for a quarterback, Jameis is available.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say take the shot. He looks way better than I thought he would.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. And his
Definitely.
patience. He's very patient. They showed a
Mm-hmm.
replay where no one was open, and guess what he did? He threw the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, he and
Really?
Hey, and no
What a
one on this,
concept.
and no one even on the sideline caught the ball. That was
yeah he
amazing.
he seems to have grown quite a bit in that Saints offense.
Right.
So he's definitely a waiver target if you need a quarterback. Even if you have a quarterback and you just want a second one for security, Jameis is a good pickup to go to. So
Agreed.
Awesome.
I never thought I would say those words out of my mouth, but Jameis is there.
He is.
Agreed. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think that, those are the main guys that we want to highlight. Going into your waivers. We want to wish you guys all the luck in the world, man. Go out and get your guys. Like Sherlin said, no matter at the end of the day, do your research. Look into these players as much as you want. If you like a guy, go get him. Listen, if you want to spend all your fab on Elijah Mitchell, go listen. Do what you got
Do
to
it,
do.
bro.
We
Yeah.
we're giving you, at the end of the day, it's possible. All these things are
Right.
possible. We're
Exactly.
giving you the probabilities of these things, but at the end of the day, you got to do what makes the most sense for your team. Now, man, I still say please don't do it. If you want to do it, I'm saying do it, but don't do it. Please don't do it.
Don't do
But
Guys,
it.
I think we want to start the next show by looking at how much each of us spend in our leagues. Because as much as it pains us, we have to talk about these players, but we still have to compete against against each other. And
It does hurt.
I love the first week to see how much people spent. And it's gonna be fun. So we're gonna start with that next. Which actually we're coming back to you again this week. So stay
After
tuned.
waivers, yeah.
yep.
Stay tuned. And we have a lot to talk about for the upcoming games this weekend as well.
Yeah, look out for the Thursday matchup breakdown. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do a standalone video for that. Look out for that on our social media. Guys, we're gonna switch it up a little bit about how we get the content to you, but just definitely stay on board with us. Keep following us on YouTube at Couch Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Couch Champions. For Twitter, it's Couch Champions Couch. The season has begun. We're so excited. We're ready to give you guys everything you need to make sure you dominate your league, dominate everyone that comes up against you, that dares to try and take away what is yours.
Oh, it's mine, all mine.
That's right. We're ready
All
for
right,
this season,
guys.
y'all. So we hope you guys are too. And we look forward to getting to you guys with our next full episode, which will be talking about the upcoming games next week, this week.
Football is back.
Football's back, baby.